Hello, this is J. Allen Riker with Top 5 Civil Games, and today we are going to do session 1 of a solo RPG session playing Scarlet Heroes and a bunch of other stuff. If you want to know exactly what, check out session 0, which I actually just recorded, which is why I'm wearing the same shirt. This is 3 minutes later. I decided to treat myself to a Waterloo. And now we are going to get started with session 1. So I am going to be using the Adventure Crafter, which is a lot like Mythic GME. I mean, it's by the same company, so it's literally identical in a lot of ways. And you can use the Mythic GME to supplement it. I'm not going to. I've got my own Oracle, and I've got what else? A bunch of stuff. And I've got a bunch of stuff that you can learn about in the other video. I'm going to be writing it as a screenplay. And let's get into it. So first we're going to finish up the scene. Okay, so we need to finish that scene, but first I'm going to write some of these characters. I don't think I'm going to put Urak because he is the protagonist and he will be in every scene. So we need Zarin and Kedgim. Is their atrocious name. Let's see if we can draw a better name for Kedgim. Dion, Seda, and Patek. Patek sounds good. Okay, well, I might as well read this again if it's so that in case you didn't watch the whole of session 0. Interior, gladiator arena, fighter barracks, night. Large open space outside the individual cells is dark and dank, lit only by fires which throw light absorbed by soot-stained planks and beams. In the background, fighters eat and nurse their wounds. Those that are untrustworthy, especially those captured in warfare, are already locked in cells. Before this fire, in the dirt, sits Urak, 19, male, tall and athletic. He stares unmoving, the fire reflecting in his dark eyes. Behind him on a log sits Zarin, 52, male, gnarled but muscular. He pushes a needle made of translucent fish tooth into the flesh of the boy's back, then pulls it out the other side of a gash. Pulling back, we see several more slices parallel to this one in Urak's back, all sewn shut. Zarin, you should avoid the sharp end of a tiger. Sorting. 5 of its 6 ends are sharp, making the choice easy. Zarin pulls the wound closed and ties the stitch, then nicks the thread with a small piece of flint hidden in the waistband of his shorts. Urak stands and flexes. The stitches strain, but hold. Many old scars crisscross the skin around it. Thank you. Zarin waves the thanks away. Thank me by not needing more tomorrow. Talk to the matchmakers. Patek has it out for me. Hatred fills Zarin's eyes and he spits on the dirt floor. I hear he takes backroom payments from bookies to make their matches. He's made several bad ones for you. Zarin only nods. Urak smiles at the angry old man. If he's caught making crooked deals, maybe we'll get a chance to talk to him one day, in the arena. Zarin smiles, obviously pleased at the thought. You should get some sleep. Start healing that wound. Urak nods and heads for a cell. Inside, we see nothing. No table, a chair, no lamp, no bedding even. Moreover, I have him listed as one of his traits is that he is accustomed to an austere life. He would be granted more than this little, nothingness. Even as a slave, as a gladiator, they want to keep him strong and healthy, but he does not see the need for it. So Zarin, you'd probably sleep better with a mattress. I know where to grab an extra. Full of lice and weakness, sleeping on the ground is what makes me a fast healer. We'll see what you say when you're my age. If I make it to your age as a gladiator, I'll say that I'm very lucky. Say your thanks to the gods. Urak's smile fades. His good mood is gone. He enters his cell. Never. Zarin realizes his mistake. He sadly shuts and locks the cell door. Urak, if you want to make it to my age, you'll have to drop such spite, even if a god doesn't strike you down. It's poison to your body. Urak sits, blazes, then rolls to turn his back to the door, staring into the dark corner of the small cell. It can be fuel. Zarin walks away, and though Urak's anger has risen so that he hears a pounding in his head and feels it in his new wounds, he's exhausted from combat and injury and soon falls asleep. Okay, that's pretty good. Now we need to start the game proper, I guess, by seeing what the first true scene is going to be. Okay, so I have my themes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the rank of... this is going to be a personal story with action, secondary, social is third, because I'm thinking that it's going to involve him finding his family, him finding his lost peoples, him interacting with other gladiators. It's going to have tension. And last, it's going to have mystery. There is some amount of mystery, but I don't see it coming out necessarily in this adventure. I think that this chapter of the adventure is going to start over before we start unveiling a lot of the mystery. Okay, so let's see what the adventure crafter can tell us about our next plot point. Theme is 2, which means that it is an action. Okay, so that means basically you draw 2 cards at once. I'm still trying to remember exactly how this works. So my second one is social, and that is none. You can see on the card, not well at all. That is none. I apologize for that. I don't know exactly what to do about it. So we'll go to the next one. Theme 1, which is personal. That is preparation. For some reason, an eyeball is personal. So preparation, and I'm going to look and see what that means. So I've got this plot points reference here. This will get faster as I go, but this turning point involves a character needing to prepare for something. I guess that's pretty obvious. Maybe I didn't need to look at that. Okay, it's time for the third. Once again, personal, willing to talk. See what that is. A character is in a mood to talk. Whatever it is they have to say is important to furthering the plot line. You know what, though? I forgot about the fact that it's going to need that other one's going to need a new character. So we're going to have to... So preparation, you'll see up here, requires a new character, is what that says. I need to get a new camera. Sorry about that. In fact, I'm typing it in the character area. So we have to make up a new character. Let's try drawing one out of here. Okay. Say a safecracker. Wants to conduct blackmail on or with a document. But it will cost them the world they know. Okay, so what this says to me is that this character is was a thief who got caught trying to blackmail someone important with a document, and it cost them the world that they know because they have been tossed into the gladiator pit. I think that we can make this part of the immediate plot, which is what I'm thinking would be trying to punish that bookie or that matchmaker. Okay, so let's give this person a name. Ivy. And we are going to say that the willing to talk is also, because it also required a new character, and that was going to be Ivy. I don't know exactly what the rules are. Obviously, that doesn't matter. What matters is having a good game. But there's no need to introduce a massive number of new characters in one plot point. So the same character, if I feel like that same character can produce multiple results, so that puts them on here twice. Okay, so Ivy is on there twice. Let's see kind of what she is like. Virtue, chastity, vice, envy. Okay, is that enough? It's probably enough for the moment. Okay, so let's do our next plot point. Another theme of personal. Okay, and this is persuasion. Okay, yeah, I can see this. Who was this upon? It was persuasion upon choose the most logical character. So it's going to involve two characters. We'll say that it is involving, I'm not sure. She doesn't need to convince Urak to help her. Maybe they would need Zaren's help, but how is he going to help? Now, Zaren is a free man who has come back because he only knows a life of a gladiator. So he signs 5-year contracts. But that's why he locked Urak into his cell. He's a free man. And has a lot more, therefore, freedom. Okay, we need one more theme of personal. None. Okay, so that's what the next scene is going to be about, is this discussion with, usually, so it should draw more of whatever your highest theme is, so personal, but you usually don't get 4 out of the 5 being your top one. Those are really stacked there. Okay, so I've decided that what all this means together is that this thief named Ivy gets brought in. She needs to get out to get her vengeance, but she needs to be able to pick the lock to be able to do that. And she's going to try to convince Urak and Zaren to help her. Interior, fighter, barracks, day. Urak sits at a fire, listening to the men, too injured to train, stretch tales very tall about how they got their wounds. The door opens, and several soldiers bring a woman in, bound in manacles, then toss her into a cell and lock the door. They talk to one of the private guards before leaving. Urak tries to listen in. So I guess we do a test. I will say that it is hard to hear them. They are a distance away, and they're talking in a way to not broadcast everything they're saying, but it's also not super secretive. We'll see if Urak hears. So hard is a 13, and he rolled a 13, which is great because I was using intelligence, and that would just give a +1. So he rolled exactly what he needed to overhear the guards talking. Urak sits at a fire, listening to the men too injured to train stretch tales very tall about how they got their wounds. The door opens and several soldiers bring a woman in, bound in manacles, then toss her into a cell and lock the door. They talk to one of the private guards before leaving. Urak tries to listen in. Soldier, keep this one strictly under lock and key, but she's a thief and they might not do much good, so nothing she can use as a pick. What did she do? Idiot broke into Patek's house and tried to steal from him. Oh, she is an idiot then. Won't last long with Patek against her. No, I expect not. She's a rude one. I'd like to know when she's going to fight. What do you think Patek will give her? He has an old Kodiak bear for when he likes to make it messy. That's my bet. Let me know when that's scheduled. Looks towards Cell. I'd like to see that. Oh yes. Won't be so rude then. Sudden realization. I almost forgot to ask. How's Tindra? She must be pretty far along. Urak stops listening and looks toward the cell. Urak stops listening and looks towards the cell with a scheming look on his face. Okay, so that would be the end of a literal scene, but that is not going to be the end of this scene, according to Adventure Crafter. Interior, fighter barracks, night. Urak sits with Zira near a fire. They finish eating. The gladiators around them stare groggily into the fire. Flames. Urak, come with me. Urak stands and moves from the fire, sitting in the dirt some ways off from everyone else. Zirin glances about. No one is paying any mind. He rises and goes to sit with Urak. What are you secretive about? I don't like secrets. I need just a bit of help. I need you to lock me into the cell the second from the end. Zirin looks. Urak winces at his lack of guile, but it's a quick glance. Sure, I don't know why that requires all this. Do you have a fever? Zirin reaches towards Urak's forehead. Urak smacks his hand away. Because in the furthest cell is a prisoner. I overheard them telling the guard about her. She's a thief, and it's Patek who wants her there. They won't want anyone near her, but I want to talk to her. How do you propose to get into that cell then? The guard is sitting right there. Don't you worry about that. Just be ready for the distraction. Zirin shakes his head wearily. Urak has too much energy and enjoys trouble too much. I can tell you're a priest's son. I've never met one who didn't love trouble. Urak smiles, rises, and walks towards a cluster of men talking around a fire. Okay, so he is going to try to convince someone to help him. And I guess I need to check to see if they will do it. So he is going to use his charisma, which I purposefully put pretty high at a 15. And he is going to, if possible, collect on an old debt. So I need to check on if there is an old debt that he can collect on. It seems to me like it would be very likely. So we're going to go with that. He is the sort of guy who does things for other people. And we get a 5, which puts it into yes, but under very likely. And the but is going to be, let's see. So on my oracle, it says a twist to the relationship between people in the situation. Okay, I'm going to look up a background for this person on the Solo Heroes Scarlet Heroes chart. Okay, so it's a 2 and an 8. Which would make him a cheating merchant. I'm gonna make him a creedless street dog. Let's figure out this guy's name. Always a good name. Now remember that the but was to do with a relation. So that's where I got the brother from. Okay, I think we left off here. So Urak is trying to cause a distraction. Urak smiles, rises, and walks towards a cluster of men talking around a fire. He approaches a large, lumpy-headed man, Ollie, as he tells an apparently funny story to his brother, Tevin. Urak sits beside Ollie. Ollie, I need to call in that favor. Remember when I took on that mercenary when you were too injured to move? Ollie looks at Urak hard. I do. What do you want? The easiest favor you can imagine. I want you to make a distraction. Start a fight with your brother here. Make the guards break it up. Tevin says, I don't owe you nothing. I get in trouble once more and they'll lock me up with no food. I can't do with no food. Ollie shakes his head. You can't do with no food. Never could. I want to help you, but I'll sneak you food. If I call this favor in later, it'll be for something much worse. Ollie looks to Tevin. You sneak me food, and you owe me. Owe you what? I don't know yet. Urak nods. He doesn't particularly want to owe someone like Tevin anything, but he usually helps people for free, so he isn't too worried. Urak looks to Zarin. He's sitting near the cell. It's a deal then. Tevin smiles, then roars, picking up a log, then hurling it against the wall, sending a loud boom resonating through the barracks. I've had enough of your mouth. As Urak backs away, Ollie stands and shouts, Well, I've had more than enough of yours. He tackles Tevin around the waist, driving him several yards away, and into men sitting around another fire. Chaos ensues. Several people try to break the fight up. Several more people join in. Everyone else circles, hooting and shouting advice. The guard gets up and runs to the scuffle, a stout baton in one hand, a whip in the other. Urak jogs towards the cell as the guards begin cracking his whip. As the guard begins cracking his whip on and around the men, causing only more noise and chaos. Quick! Urak slips into the cell, and Zarin quickly closes the door and locks it. Urak knows all the cells well, having spent years in the relatively small building. Despite the darkness, he knows where the gaps are. And puts his mouth to one. Outside, chaos still reigns. He does owe the brothers. Dumb as they are, they really came through. Thief. Thief! Thief! After a moment, a woman's voice comes through the gap between the boards. Is this a trick? I overheard the soldier that brought you in. You're an enemy of Patek. So am I. How do I know that's true? He makes the matches that send us to our deaths. You think he has any friends here? That bastard matched my younger brother against 2 tigers with nothing but a dagger. Urak's eyes on focus. He's seeing a brutal scene in his head. Your brother was Eshen? You knew him? He was just a boy. He was here for stealing too. You're a family of thieves? He stole food because our father broke his leg and couldn't work. The shop was owned by Arjun, who paid Patek to make an example out of him. With how things are, with the Empire taking so many taxes, many people are starving, getting desperate. So why go after Patek? Why not go after Arjun? Because Arjun died in a fishing accident. He fell out of his boat with too many rocks in his pockets. The image Urak had in his head of this young woman changed. He realizes he's talking to someone dangerous. At least when provoked. This is someone who can help him get to Patek. Were you trying to kill Patek? I want to hoist him on his own petard. I've spied on him. He keeps record of his crooked dealings. If I can get that to the owner, he'll die in his own arena. Urak thought. This would be tricky and dangerous. If you can do that, I'll get you out. Do you swear? I've already sworn on everything I can to avenge my brother. How can you help? Can you break out of here if you have the tools? Easily. They've left me manacled. I can get you tools, and I can help you survive tomorrow. What happens tomorrow? Tomorrow, you fight. Okay. Well, that's, I think, a pretty fun start to the story. I know that the only actual mechanics that we had were a couple of, checks. So, not very mechanically heavy. A lot of character stuff. I think that we are going to see some combat next time. Will it be against a Kodiak bear? Do they have something else? Does Patek have something else planned? Stick around and find out. I actually really enjoyed this, and so I'm looking forward to doing some more. I was kind of waiting to see how this went before I even mentioned that I was doing any solo role-playing and considering it, because I don't like to promise something and then not deliver, but I like this, so. Okay, well, that is it for me. I hope that you tune in for the next installment of Urak's adventure. And I will talk to you later. Until then, have a great rest of your day and keep playing solo.